Good afternoon, members of the U.S. Army Research Laboratory Army Research Office. My name is Dr. Owen Benson, and I have been invited by the director of ARROW to summarize some of the important scientific findings developed by the Long-Term Data Collection Program on Natural and Bioengineered Superhumans, which have been conducted by SHIELD and funded by the U.S. Army for more than 75 years. Early ARROW investigators speculated that an accidental or even intentionally designed acquired alteration to one or more genes within an individual's DNA sequence may result in uncommon characteristics in certain people. These characteristics might be of strategic interest to the Army. ARROW investigators believe that exposure to some kind of harmful environmental agents, such as radiation or chemicals, might cause a deletion mutation. That means that one or more bases are lost from the DNA. The special kind of deletion mutation, called the X mutation, might change the instructions to make a protein, so that the protein is overproduced X times. The overabundance of that specific protein in the human body could enhance certain typical human abilities. For instance, if an X mutation occurred at the TTN gene, the overproduced titin protein might eventually allow for faster muscle twitching, which could lead to greater running speed. Or an X mutation at the CRX gene might result in the overproduction of the CRX protein, which eventually triggers the growth of more rod cells in the eyes, leading to better night vision. So is this deletion mutation responsible for the appearance of superhuman traits in certain individuals? This was our working hypothesis, which we based on scientific concepts from the fields of evolutionary biology, genetics, and biotechnology. But we needed to carefully evaluate a possible relationship between observable superhuman abilities and the nature of the genetic mutations that could be causing enhanced traits using a formal method involving observations and experimental data. SHIELD has been collecting this data in hopes to use this information to bioengineer super traits in our soldiers. Now on to the actual presentations of findings from the SHIELD initiative. Our primary mission has been focused on documenting genetic changes at the individual level, which results in observable structural, functional, and/or behavioral changes that challenge our understanding of existing human traits. SHIELD has not been gathering data on whether these acquired mutations may be hereditary. It may be possible that these altered genotypes can be passed down onto the next generation. If so, and if such unusual super traits are important to survival in a changing world, these extreme traits may be directionally selected for survival in future generations. Or these extreme phenotypes could choose to only reproduce with other extreme phenotypes, which could result in the rise of a new type of human. This is an illustration of the phylogenetic tree that considers whether a new species of human, the superhuman, could arise due to genetic mutations caused by the environmental exposures. I think it's time to get a bit more specific. Let's look at some of the data that SHIELD has been collecting on individuals suspected of having at least one X mutation. First, let me introduce you to a young man named Matthew Murdoch. He has been observed to have a number of enhanced human abilities, particularly affecting his sensory and body balance systems. Here is a clip of some footage we have found on Matthew which highlights his unusual enhanced physical abilities.
If you can hear me, we got a shot.
グランしてるんだ。
では戦法を変えよう。まともな会話ができる最後のチャンスをやる。
Listen very carefully. You've been tracking their weapons, so they dropped them. Tracking heartbeats, kid stuff. Time to go deeper. Track their breath. Sooner or later, they gotta exhale. When they do,
どこだ
kick their ass.
How could such abilities develop in an individual? The next clip shows that these chemicals blinded him, but may have also resulted in several deletion mutations that changed the kinds and quantities of proteins being produced in Matt's body. Matt adapted his own behavior, including extensive martial arts training to maximize the phenotype effect of these possible X mutations. Matt's transformation developed by a combination of genetic mutations and hard work. that could change the Army soldiers' training program.
Manny, don't move, okay? No, just don't move. Somebody get us some help!
Oh, it burns!
Jesus. Close your eyes, Manny. Close your eyes.
Dad.
Close your eyes.
I can't see! I can't see!
Now let's compare Matt to another individual suspected of having several X mutations, Dr. Bruce Banner. In contrast to Matt Murdock, Bruce seriously challenges the definition of what it means to be human. His mutations seem to negatively affect typical homeostasis systems in his body. Dr. Banner demonstrates exceedingly unstable body responses to negative emotions like rage or anger, so that most of his physical receptors, like skin and muscles, hyperreact. When Dr. Banner is enraged, his thinking abilities also appear to negatively impacted. Dr. Banner has the most extreme form of mutation on record, and SHIELD has classified him as a serious domestic threat to national security. SHIELD has learned that Dr. Banner's deletion mutations likely were the result of catastrophic exposure to gamma radiation. Such radiation can break chromosomes into pieces, some of which may get lost. SHIELD suspects that it may be possible to cause intentional mutations in individuals by exposing them to harmful environmental agents.
Harper, get out! Get out!
The third individual suspected of having an X mutation is Peter Parker. Similar to both Matt and Bruce, changes to his DNA have fundamentally altered how much protein is being processed. Peter also demonstrates a number of enhanced physical abilities, including great agility and strength.
Not thinking straight, Doc! Stop this! This isn't you! Let's talk this out!
Somebody's been a bad lizard.
Similar to Dr. Banner, Peter Parker's genetic mutation appeared to be driven by secondary exposure to radiation effects. SHIELD has learned that he was bitten by a new species of spider that was created using restriction enzymes to introduce irradiated DNA sequences into the DNA of a typical spider. The bioengineered spider served as a harmful environmental agent that triggered an X mutation in DNA sequences involving muscle growth, cell growth, and replacement.
That's great.
MJ, let's go.
Wait. Thanks. Parker, let's do it.
The fourth individual is more unusual, as he suggests that some of the X mutations might in fact be hereditary. Both James Howlett, who chooses to be known as Wolverine, and his brother were apparently born with significant genetic mutations that fundamentally alter their metabolism, their immunity, as well as adding a new anatomical structure, retractable claws. Wolverine's metabolism has been increased well beyond that expected in an average human, so that his cells now have and can process massive amounts of ATP to repair cell damage.
What kind of monster are you?
The Wolverine.
Although James Howlett's mutations appear to be hereditary, he has been subjected to experimental bioengineering procedures that make use of his increased metabolic rates. His entire skeletal structure has been infused with adamantium to make them incredibly strong. Such a procedure would not be survivable by a human without a similar X mutation.
The father. The wars. Knowing that the woman you loved was hunted down. Join me, but you will have your revenge.
I want new ones.
And what do you want him to say?
Wolverine.
Embrace the other side.
The final individual I will present to you today actually represents the culmination of the SHIELD initiative, as our data has been used by Army scientists to design a mutated soldier. Steve Rogers volunteered to undergo intentional genetic modification as a demonstration of the next generation of soldiers. Steve, also known as Captain America, represents near physical fighter perfection.
Wanda, just like we practiced.
What about the gas?
Get it out.
Steve Rogers' genetic mutations were acquired by intentionally exposure to both chemicals and radiation.
Today, we take not another step towards annihilation, but the first step on the path to peace. We begin with a series of micro-injections into the subject's major muscle groups. The serum infusion will cause immediate cellular change. And then, to stimulate growth, the subject will be saturated with vital rays.
100%! Mr. Stark?
So what do we know about the relationship between the origin of the suspected X mutation and the nature of the enhanced abilities that have been observed in specific individuals? The mutation can be hard to predict and then hard to control. Our data could be used in an analysis of variants, though, to identify which group might have abilities of more use to the military.